15 interesting psychological facts about human behavior. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. Hey everyone, and welcome to Stoic in Your Life. Have you ever found yourself puzzled by your own actions or curious about the behaviors of those around you? Understanding human behavior is like unlocking the secrets of the mind, revealing the hidden patterns and motivations that drive us. Today, we are going to delve into 15 fascinating psychological facts about human behavior that will not only intrigue you, but also provide profound insights into the complexities of our actions, thoughts, and emotions. These facts will take you on a journey through the fascinating landscape of human psychology. You'll discover why we form habits, how our subconscious mind influences our daily decisions, and what psychological triggers shape our interactions with others. We'll explore the science behind common behaviors and uncover the psychological principles that can help us understand ourselves and those around us better. From the quirks of our daily routines to the deep-seated motivations that drive our decisions, these psychological facts will offer you a new perspective on the human experience. Whether you're looking to improve your relationships, enhance your personal growth, or simply satisfy your curiosity about the human mind, these insights will be both enlightening and practical. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive deep into the captivating world of human psychology. Let's get started. Have you ever wondered what makes us tick? Human psychology is like an intricate tapestry, woven with threads of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Think of it as peering into a grand, hidden universe within our minds, where every aspect of our behavior is a piece of the puzzle. It's akin to uncovering the magician's secrets behind an awe-inspiring performance, revealing the complex mechanisms that drive our daily lives. As we journey through this fascinating realm, let's delve into some intriguing psychological facts about human behavior, enriched with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. At the core of our psychological landscape is the realization that our minds are both powerful and enigmatic. Take, for instance, the way we form and retain memories, or the mysterious realm of our dreams, shaped in the depths of our subconscious. These processes aren't just random. They are profound elements that define our human experience. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," reminding us that our inner narratives shape our reality. Exploring psychology is like embarking on a grand adventure, where we encounter concepts such as the halo effect, a cognitive bias where our perception of someone is influenced by a single positive trait. This can lead us to view everything about them in a favorable light. Similarly, the bystander apathy phenomenon shows how people are less likely to help in an emergency when others are present, reflecting our deepest social fears and instincts. These insights serve as windows into the core of human behavior, illustrating the intricate dance of our fears, desires, and motivations. The beauty of psychology lies in its omnipresence in our lives. It influences everything from how we form relationships to the decisions we make. Think about the comforting embrace of a loved one, the compelling allure of a well-crafted advertisement, or the resilience we summon in adversity. All these actions are products of our mind's intricate workings. As Epictetus wisely noted, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This highlights the profound impact of our psychological responses on our lives. As we dive deeper into this journey of self-discovery, we realize that understanding psychology helps us gain insights into not just others but also ourselves. It's about uncovering the reasons behind our actions and emotions, providing a clearer picture of human nature's beauty and complexity. This exploration is more than just academic. It's a path to personal growth and understanding. So let's set sail on this voyage of curiosity, armed with the wisdom of the Stoics and a keen interest in the mysteries of our minds. By examining these 15 fascinating psychological facts, we will not only gain a better understanding of human behavior, but also learn to navigate our own lives with greater wisdom and clarity. As Seneca once said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters." This journey through the labyrinth of our psyche promises to be as enriching as it is enlightening. 1. Mirroring Mirage. Mirroring mirage, or the subconscious mimicry of others' actions, is an intriguing phenomenon where we copy others without even realizing it. Picture yourself chatting with a friend who keeps touching their hair. Suddenly, you notice you're doing the same even though your hair is perfectly fine. This isn't a conscious decision, it's an automatic response. Our brains are wired to mirror others, which helps us connect and empathize. It's like an invisible dance where we match others' movements to build rapport without words. This automatic mimicry can be quite fascinating, as it reveals how deeply interconnected we are as social beings. By mirroring, we create bonds and foster a sense of understanding and unity. Imagine being at a job interview. You notice that the interviewer leans forward slightly, and soon you find yourself doing the same. This mirroring not only makes the interviewer feel more at ease, but also increases your chances of making a positive impression. This subtle form of nonverbal communication can significantly impact our social interactions and relationships. It demonstrates our inherent ability to connect with others on a deeper, almost subconscious level. Consider a parent and a child. When a parent smiles at their baby, the baby often smiles back, mirroring the parent's expression. This exchange of smiles builds a strong emotional connection and helps the child feel safe and loved. This early form of mirroring sets the foundation for healthy social development and emotional intelligence. In a modern context, think about a team meeting at work. If the team leader is enthusiastic and engaged, it's likely that the team members will mirror that energy, leading to a more productive and positive meeting. On the other hand, if the leader is disinterested and disengaged, the team's morale and productivity might suffer. This mirroring of attitudes and behaviors can shape the overall atmosphere and outcomes of group interactions. Let's delve into a personal story to illustrate this further. John, a marketing manager, noticed that his team was not as cohesive as he wanted them to be. He decided to try an experiment. During meetings, he consciously mirrored positive behaviors, such as nodding, smiling, and maintaining open body language. Over time, he observed that his team members began to mirror these behaviors as well. This shift led to a more collaborative and supportive team environment. By understanding and applying the concept of mirroring, John was able to transform his team's dynamics and improve their performance. Have you ever found yourself mirroring someone's actions without realizing it? Perhaps you were sitting across from a friend at a cafe, and you both reached for your coffee cup simultaneously. This kind of synchronization often goes unnoticed, yet it plays a crucial role in building and maintaining social bonds. Understanding the power of mirroring can enhance your interactions and relationships. By being aware of this phenomenon, you can consciously use it to create positive connections with others. Whether in professional settings, personal relationships, or everyday encounters, mirroring can be a powerful tool to foster empathy, understanding, and rapport. The mirroring mirage highlights the fascinating and automatic ways we connect with others. Our subconscious mimicry of actions helps build rapport and strengthen social bonds. By recognizing and utilizing this behavior, we can enhance our interactions and relationships, creating a more empathetic and connected world. So, next time you notice yourself mirroring someone, consider it a testament to our shared humanity and the invisible threads that bind us together. 2. The paradox of choice. Picture walking into a massive candy store brimming with endless varieties and flavors, all enticingly laid out before you. You're eager to pick a sweet treat, but as you gaze upon the hundreds of different candies, an unexpected feeling creeps in. Not excitement, but stress. This is known as the paradox of choice, a fascinating psychological phenomenon where an abundance of options leads not to happiness, but to anxiety. The human brain, when faced with too many choices, can become overwhelmed, making the decision-making process far more difficult and less satisfying. Barry Schwartz, a renowned psychologist, delves into this concept in his book, The Paradox of Choice: Why More is Less. Schwartz explains that while choice is essential for autonomy and freedom, An overload of choices can paralyze us and diminish our overall happiness. He points out, learning to choose is hard. Learning to choose well is harder. And learning to choose well in a world of unlimited possibilities is harder still, perhaps too hard. This paradox can make you ponder. How many times have you faced a similar situation, not in a candy store, but perhaps while shopping online, deciding on a restaurant, or even choosing a career path? Think about the last time you tried to pick a movie to watch on a streaming platform. With thousands of titles at your fingertips, what should be a relaxing activity turns into a stressful decision-making process. This choice overload can lead to decision fatigue, a state where your brain gets tired from making too many decisions. In such a state, you might end up making no choice at all or opting for a less satisfying option just to get it over with. How often do you find yourself scrolling endlessly, unable to decide, only to eventually watch something you've seen before because it's familiar and safe? Let's reflect on the implications of this paradox in our daily lives. The constant barrage of choices can lead to what psychologists call choice paralysis, where the fear of making the wrong choice prevents us from making any decision at all. This fear stems from the pressure to choose the best possible option, which can be overwhelming when faced with numerous alternatives. Imagine standing at the crossroads of significant life decisions, choosing a college, a career, or a life partner. The stakes are high, and the myriad of options can be daunting. How can we manage this overwhelming feeling? One way to cope with the paradox of choice is by embracing the Stoic philosophy of focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely advised, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. By narrowing our focus to what we can control and prioritizing our values, we can reduce the stress associated with too many choices. Instead of striving for the perfect option, aim for what is good enough and aligns with your core values and needs. Consider the simplicity advocated by Stoicism as a counterbalance to modern choice overload. By simplifying our lives and reducing the number of decisions we need to make, we can alleviate much of the stress and anxiety that come with excessive choices. This doesn't mean avoiding decisions altogether, but rather being more deliberate and mindful about the ones we do make. What are some areas in your life where you can simplify and reduce the number of choices you face daily? Another practical approach is to set clear criteria for your decisions. When you know exactly what you're looking for, it becomes easier to sift through the options and make a choice. For instance, if you're buying a new phone, determine your budget, the key features you need, and any brand preferences before you start shopping. This way, you can quickly eliminate options that don't meet your criteria, making the decision process more manageable. How can setting specific criteria help you in your next big decision? Moreover, embracing the concept of satisfaction, choosing an option that meets your minimum criteria rather than seeking the absolute best, can lead to greater satisfaction and less regret. As Herbert Simon, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, suggested, satisficers tend to be happier than maximizers who exhaustively seek the perfect choice. By lowering the pressure to find the best and settling for what is good enough, we can make quicker decisions and feel more content with our choices. Have you experienced the relief that comes with satisfying rather than maximizing? In today's world where options are abundant and the pressure to make the right choice is immense, it's crucial to recognize the impact of the paradox of choice on our well-being. By applying Stoic principles, setting clear criteria, and embracing satisfaction, we can navigate the sea of choices with more ease and less anxiety. Next time you find yourself overwhelmed by options, remember the wisdom of the Stoics and ask yourself, what truly matters? How can you simplify the decision process? And most importantly, how can you choose in a way that aligns with your values and brings you peace? As we journey through life, let's strive to make choices that enhance our happiness rather than hinder it. After all, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. So, how will you apply these insights to your next decision? 3. The doorway effect. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly forgotten why you entered? This common experience, known as the doorway effect, offers fascinating insights into the quirks of human behavior. Let's delve into this and uncover the mysteries behind such everyday occurrences, all while reflecting on the wisdom of the Stoics. The doorway effect, a phenomenon familiar to many, is akin to walking into a room and immediately forgetting your purpose for being there. Picture you're in the kitchen and recall needing your phone from the bedroom. As you step into the bedroom, your mind suddenly blanks on why you came. This baffling experience happens because entering a new environment essentially resets your brain, making it challenging to remember your original intent. Each room acts as a distinct chapter, and transitioning between them can cause you to lose track of the narrative. This cognitive quirk is a perfect example of how our minds compartmentalize experiences to manage the constant influx of information. Relating this to Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This quote reminds us that even these seemingly minor frustrations can be opportunities for mindfulness and reflection. In the context of the doorway effect, we can use these moments of forgetfulness to practice patience and presence. Instead of getting frustrated, take a deep breath and center yourself in the present moment. This practice can help us become more aware of our surroundings and our intentions. In our modern, fast-paced lives where multitasking is often glorified, the doorway effect teaches us the value of focusing on one thing at a time. When you forget why you entered a room, it's a cue to slow down and be more deliberate with your actions. This aligns with the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature, which includes understanding and working with the natural tendencies of our minds. Furthermore, this phenomenon highlights the importance of creating mental clarity. Seneca wisely advised, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." When we are clear about our intentions and purposes, we navigate through our days with more direction and less confusion. By setting clear objectives and being mindful of our transitions, we can reduce the frequency of these mental resets and maintain a steady course in our activities. Incorporating Stoic wisdom into our understanding of the doorway effect, we find that these moments of forgetfulness are not just trivial annoyances, but opportunities to practice mindfulness and intentionality. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics, we can turn these small lapses into valuable lessons, reminding us to live with purpose and presence in every moment. So next time you walk into a room and forget why you're there, remember it's a chance to reset not just your brain, but your mindset, aligning more closely with the Stoic path of mindful and purposeful living. 4. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. Have you ever come across a new word and then started seeing it everywhere? This is known as the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. It's as if the word was hidden in plain sight and now appears in books, conversations, and on TV. This doesn't mean the word suddenly gained popularity. Rather, your brain has become tuned to recognize it. Picture this. You're thinking about pink elephants, and suddenly, pink seems to be everywhere you look. Our brains are incredible at spotting patterns, particularly when it comes to new and intriguing information. Consider this scenario. You've just learned about the Stoic concept of amor fati, which means loving one's fate. Suddenly you notice references to fate in songs, movies, and even casual conversations. This isn't a coincidence. Your brain, now wired to this new concept, spots it more easily amidst the noise of everyday life. This phenomenon shows how our minds work in fascinating ways, picking up on details we might have previously overlooked. Let's dive into a modern example. Imagine you've just started learning about mindfulness and meditation. You begin noticing articles about meditation on social media, friends casually mentioning their meditation routines, and even commercials highlighting the benefits of mindfulness. This isn't because the world has suddenly become obsessed with meditation overnight. Instead, your awareness has expanded to include this new interest, making it seem more prevalent than before. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon can also be empowering. For instance, if you're focusing on personal growth and resilience, you'll start seeing stories of triumph over adversity and motivational quotes more often. This can reinforce your own journey and provide inspiration when you need it most. Recognizing this pattern can help you stay aware of the influences around you and harness them to support your goals. Let's apply this to a real-life situation. Picture yourself striving to adopt a more stoic approach to life, embracing principles like tranquility and resilience. After reading about Stoicism, you start to see Stoic quotes on social media, hear mentions of Stoic philosophy in podcasts, and even notice Stoic themes in movies. This doesn't mean the world has suddenly shifted its focus to Stoicism. Rather, your newfound interest has tuned your perception to recognize these elements. This can be a powerful reminder of the values you're trying to embody and keep you motivated on your journey. Have you ever experienced this phenomenon with something new you've learned or focused on? How did it change your perception and awareness? Engaging with your own experiences can deepen your understanding of how our minds work and how we can use these insights to our advantage. By being mindful of this phenomenon, you can consciously choose what to focus on, knowing that your brain will help you see more of it in your surroundings. The Baader-Meinhof phenomenon is a fascinating glimpse into how our brains process information. By recognizing and understanding this pattern, you can use it to your benefit, enhancing your focus on positive and meaningful aspects of life. Embrace this insight and let it guide you in your personal growth, making your journey more enriching and purposeful. Thank you for being a part of this journey through 15 interesting psychological facts about human behavior and Stoicism. Which of these 4 psychological facts resonated with you the most, and how do you plan to incorporate Stoic principles into your daily life? If you're unsure of what to comment, simply drop a message saying, "I am embracing wisdom," to show your commitment to personal growth. Stick around, more valuable insights are coming. 5. The Tetris effect. Let's delve into a truly fascinating aspect of human behavior known as the Tetris effect. Have you ever found yourself so immersed in an activity that even after stepping away, your mind continues to replay elements of that activity? Picture this. You've been playing Tetris for hours on end. The colorful blocks fall into place, and you're in the zone, strategically aligning them to clear lines. But even when you put the game down, those blocks continue to tumble in your mind's eye, perhaps even invading your dreams. This phenomenon, known as the Tetris effect, exemplifies how our brains can become so engrossed in a focused activity that it leaves a lingering imprint on our consciousness. Our minds are incredibly adept at recognizing patterns, and when we concentrate intensely on something, those patterns can become ingrained. The Tetris effect isn't limited to just games. It can occur with any repetitive activity. For instance, after spending a day arranging books on a shelf, you might find yourself mentally organizing objects around you in similar ways. This phenomenon provides a captivating insight into the plasticity of our brains, their ability to adapt and reorganize based on our experiences. Think about how this applies to our daily lives and routines. Have you ever been so absorbed in a project at work that you continue to think about it during your commute home, or even while trying to fall asleep? The Tetris effect underscores the profound impact of sustained attention on our mental processes. It's a testament to our brain's remarkable capacity to internalize and replay activities that demand our focus. This psychological phenomenon extends beyond mere patterns and images. Consider the implications for learning and skill development. When we dedicate ourselves to mastering a new skill, whether it's playing a musical instrument, learning a new language, or practicing a sport, the Tetris effect suggests that our intense focus can lead to subconscious reinforcement. This means that even when we're not actively engaged in the activity, our brains continue to process and solidify the new information. The Tetris effect also has intriguing connections to mindfulness and mental conditioning. By intentionally directing our focus and engagement towards positive activities, we can harness this effect to our benefit. Imagine channeling this mental persistence towards practicing gratitude or developing a Stoic mindset. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By repeatedly engaging in positive, constructive thoughts and actions, we can shape our mental landscape much like how the Tetris effect shapes our perception after prolonged focus on a game. However, the Tetris effect also brings to light the potential downsides of our mental plasticity. It serves as a reminder of how negative or harmful patterns can become ingrained if we expose ourselves to them repeatedly. If we find ourselves frequently engaged in stressful or anxiety-inducing activities, those patterns can persist in our minds, affecting our overall well-being. This is why it's crucial to be mindful of where we direct our attention and energy. So, how can we leverage this knowledge in our everyday lives? One practical approach is to be intentional about the activities we immerse ourselves in. By choosing positive, enriching pursuits, we can encourage our minds to internalize beneficial patterns. Additionally, practicing mindfulness can help us become more aware of our mental habits and make conscious efforts to steer them in a positive direction. Imagine the potential of applying the Tetris effect to personal growth. What if, instead of allowing stress and negativity to dominate our mental space, we focused on cultivating resilience and inner peace? The Stoic practice of reflecting on our day and considering how we can improve aligns perfectly with this concept. By regularly engaging in self-reflection and contemplating our actions, we can create a mental environment that promotes growth and tranquility. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, the Tetris effect serves as both a fascinating psychological insight and a practical tool for personal development. It highlights the power of focused attention and the lasting impact of our mental engagements. By understanding this phenomenon, we can make more informed choices about where we direct our energy, ultimately shaping our minds and lives in positive ways. 6. Rosy Retrospection. Have you ever noticed how your memories of the past often seem more enjoyable than they were at the moment? This fascinating phenomenon, known as Rosy Retrospection, offers a unique insight into our psychology and reveals how our minds tend to polish our recollections, creating a more positive narrative of our experiences. Think back to a camping trip where the rain poured incessantly and the bugs were relentless, driving you to the brink of frustration. At that moment, the experience felt like a battle against nature. However, as time passed and you reminisced about that trip, the memories transformed. You started recalling the laughter around the campfire, the stories shared under the stars, and the camaraderie that blossomed amidst the challenges. This phenomenon, known as Rosy Retrospection, is our brain's remarkable ability to beautify our past experiences, often editing out the discomfort and amplifying the joy. It's as if our mind curates a highlight reel, focusing on the positive and downplaying the negatives. This psychological quirk isn't just a whimsical trick. It has profound implications for how we perceive our lives and derive meaning from our experiences. As Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By naturally highlighting the positive aspects of our past, our minds help us maintain a sense of happiness and satisfaction, even from less than perfect situations. Understanding Rosy Retrospection can also offer valuable lessons for our present and future. Knowing that our memories will eventually filter out the negative aspects, we might approach life's challenges with a bit more patience and resilience. Instead of dwelling on the discomforts and frustrations of the moment, we can focus on creating meaningful and joyful experiences, trusting that these are the moments our minds will cherish. This perspective aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By recognizing the transient nature of our difficulties and the lasting impact of our positive experiences, we can navigate life's ebbs and flows with greater serenity and optimism. In our fast-paced modern lives, where stress and challenges are ubiquitous, embracing the concept of Rosy Retrospection can be particularly empowering. It encourages us to cultivate a mindset that seeks out joy and meaning in everyday moments, knowing that these will be the memories we cherish in the future. So, the next time you're faced with a situation that seems less than ideal, Remember that your mind has a way of transforming these moments into cherished memories. Focus on the laughter, the learning, and the connections you make, and let go of the temporary discomforts. As Seneca eloquently put it, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and the insights of psychology, we can lead richer, more fulfilling lives, full of memories that bring a smile to our faces long after the moment has passed. 7. The Ostrich Effect. The ostrich effect is a fascinating psychological phenomenon that describes our tendency to avoid uncomfortable truths by metaphorically burying our heads in the sand, much like an ostrich. This behavior is something we all might recognize in ourselves. Imagine you've been spending a bit too much and are anxious about checking your bank account balance. Instead of facing the reality, you choose to ignore it, hoping the problem will resolve itself. This is a classic example of the ostrich effect. It's not just about finances. It can apply to many aspects of life. Perhaps you avoid medical checkups because you're scared of what might be found, or you shy away from opening your report card because you're worried about your grades. This avoidance might provide temporary relief, but it often leads to greater stress and problems down the line. Our brains sometimes prefer to stay in the dark about certain issues, believing ignorance will shield us from anxiety and discomfort. For instance, consider how many of us avoid watching the news because it seems relentlessly negative. This avoidance is a protective mechanism, a way to dodge the emotional toll of constant bad news. Yet by doing so, we also miss out on crucial information that could help us understand and navigate the world better. To make this more relatable, let's talk about a modern-day story. Think of Emma, a young professional who just started her first job. She's excited and eager to impress her new boss. However, she knows she overspent last month and dreads checking her bank account. Each day the anxiety grows, but she convinces herself that as long as she doesn't look, she can maintain her peace of mind. One day, Emma finally musters the courage to check, only to find she's accrued significant overdraft fees, making her financial situation worse than it initially was. This experience taught Emma that avoidance only amplifies problems. She realized that by facing her fears and taking proactive steps, she could manage her finances better and reduce her anxiety. Now let's reflect on our own lives. What are some things we avoid because they're uncomfortable? How might our lives improve if we confronted these issues head-on? Stoicism teaches us to face our fears and accept reality as it is. By doing so, we gain control over our reactions and can tackle problems more effectively. Instead of avoiding that bank account, embrace the discomfort, assess your spending, and create a budget. Instead of turning off the news, filter it for relevant information that helps you stay informed and prepared. The lesson here is clear. Avoidance might seem like a short-term solution, but it often leads to long-term stress. Embracing the uncomfortable truths and taking actionable steps towards addressing them empowers us to live more authentically and resiliently. By acknowledging our fears and facing them, we build a stronger foundation for personal growth and peace of mind. So what will you choose to face today, and how will that choice transform your life? 8. Emotional echoes. Let's dive into the fascinating concept of emotional echoes, a psychological phenomenon where emotions spread among people like a ripple effect. Picture you're sitting in a room, and someone suddenly bursts into laughter. Even if you have no clue why they're laughing, you might find yourself smiling or chuckling along. This is emotional echoes at play, where one person's emotions can infect others around them. It's similar to how yawning is contagious. Have you ever noticed how one person's yawn can set off a chain reaction in a room? This happens because we, as humans, are inherently social beings, wired to connect and resonate with each other's feelings. Now think about a time when you were with a friend who was feeling down. You might have noticed your own mood dipping slightly, mirroring their sadness. This isn't just in your head. It's a real psychological response. The emotions of those around us have a powerful influence on our own emotional state. Aristotle once said, "Man is by nature a social animal." This quote beautifully encapsulates why we experience emotional echoes. Our brains are designed to pick up on the emotions of others, creating a shared emotional environment. This phenomenon can be seen in various social settings. For example, in a workplace, if a leader is enthusiastic and positive, their energy can uplift the entire team. Conversely, if the leader is stressed or anxious, it can bring down the morale of everyone. Have you ever been in a situation where a single person's negativity seemed to drain the energy from a whole group? It's as if their bad mood spreads like a shadow, affecting everyone's spirits. This is why maintaining a positive attitude is so crucial in leadership and teamwork. Moreover, emotional echoes aren't just limited to in-person interactions. Even in digital communications like emails or social media, the tone and emotion can seep through and influence our feelings. For instance, receiving an enthusiastic message from a friend can brighten your day, while a curt or angry email can leave you feeling upset. Let's take a closer look at how emotional echoes work in our daily lives. Have you ever noticed how a happy child can make an entire room of adults smile? Children are particularly good at spreading their emotions because they express them so openly and purely. Their joy is contagious, reminding us of the simple pleasures in life. On the other hand, when a child is upset, it can tug at our heartstrings and affect our mood deeply. This emotional resonance is also why we often seek out company when we're feeling down. Being around loved ones who show empathy and understanding can significantly improve our mood. Their positive emotions can help lift us out of our sadness. As the famous philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." Surrounding ourselves with positive influences is one way to cultivate a happier mindset. Consider the impact of emotional echoes in larger groups, such as at concerts or sporting events. The collective excitement and energy can create an electric atmosphere where everyone feels united and exhilarated. This shared emotional experience is incredibly powerful and can leave lasting memories. But emotional echoes aren't always positive. In situations of panic or fear, emotions can spread rapidly, leading to collective anxiety. This is often seen in emergency situations where one person's fear can cause a domino effect, escalating the overall sense of urgency and panic. Understanding emotional echoes can help us manage our reactions in such scenarios, staying calm and composed even when others are not. So, how can we use this knowledge of emotional echoes to improve our lives? One way is by being mindful of our own emotional state and how it might be affecting others. Practicing Stoicism, for instance, encourages us to maintain a serene and resilient mind, which can positively influence those around us. By staying calm and composed, we can help create a more peaceful and positive environment for everyone. Another way is by consciously choosing to surround ourselves with positive influences. Just as negative emotions can bring us down, positive emotions can lift us up. Seek out friends and activities that make you feel good, and you'll find that your overall mood improves. Open-ended question. Have you ever experienced a time when someone else's emotions had a significant impact on your own mood? How did it affect you, and what did you learn from that experience? By understanding and harnessing the power of emotional echoes, we can create more positive interactions and a more emotionally supportive environment for ourselves and those around us. It's a reminder of how interconnected we all are, and how our emotions can ripple out, touching the lives of those we encounter every day. If you've made it this far, you're a seeker of wisdom. Drop a comment saying, "I am embracing wisdom," to show you're committed to this enlightening journey. Stick around, the best insights are yet to come. 9. The halo effect. In the realm of human behavior, our minds are often swayed by fascinating psychological phenomena that shape our perceptions and interactions. Let's dive into one of these intriguing concepts and uncover its impact on our lives, with a touch of timeless Stoic wisdom to guide us. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where one positive characteristic of a person influences our overall perception of them, much like wearing glasses that make one admirable trait glow brighter than everything else. For instance, you might meet someone who has a great sense of humor, and suddenly you perceive them as not only funny, but also intelligent, kind, and cool, without substantial evidence. This bias occurs when our brains latch onto a single positive attribute and allow it to overshadow other traits, creating a skewed, overly positive image of the person. It's similar to seeing someone assist an elderly person across the street and instantly concluding that they must be a wonderful person in every aspect of their life. This phenomenon can have profound implications in our daily interactions and judgments. For instance, in professional settings, a charismatic individual might be perceived as more competent and capable, even if their actual performance doesn't match up. This can lead to biased decision-making, where those who exhibit a single standout trait receive undue advantages. In our personal lives, the halo effect can cloud our judgment when forming relationships, causing us to overlook potential flaws or red flags in individuals who initially impress us with one notable quality. Understanding the halo effect can help us cultivate a more balanced and rational approach to evaluating others. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By mindfully observing and listening, we can strive to see people more holistically, rather than letting one trait dominate our perception. In modern life, being aware of the halo effect can aid in making more equitable and informed decisions. Whether hiring for a job, choosing friends, or assessing someone's character, it's essential to look beyond the surface and gather a comprehensive understanding of the individual. This approach aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control, our judgments and perceptions, rather than being swayed by external appearances. Incorporating this awareness into our daily lives requires practice and reflection. We can start by questioning our first impressions and seeking additional information before forming conclusions. Reflecting on Marcus Aurelius's words, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," reminds us that our perceptions shape our reality. Therefore, striving for clear, unbiased, and well-rounded views of others can lead to more authentic and meaningful relationships. The halo effect is a testament to the complexity of human cognition and the power of first impressions. By recognizing this bias and actively working to mitigate its influence, we can foster a more accurate and fair understanding of those around us. This mindful approach not only aligns with Stoic teachings but also enhances our interactions and decisions in all areas of life. 10. The clustering illusion. Have you ever gazed up at the sky and noticed how clouds often take on familiar shapes like animals or faces? This is a classic example of what psychologists call the clustering illusion. Our brains are incredibly adept at spotting patterns, even when there's no real order to be found. Consider the simple act of flipping a coin. You might flip it a few times and start to think that there's a pattern emerging, like heads showing up more often than tails. But the truth is, it's all just random chance. This tendency to find patterns in randomness is a fundamental part of how our brains work. We're hardwired to seek out order and meaning, even in the most chaotic and unrelated events. Imagine a time when you were driving and suddenly noticed that the traffic lights seemed to be turning green, just as you approached them, one after the other. It might feel like a lucky streak, or even a sign that the universe is favoring you. In reality, it's just a coincidence. Our brains, however, love to create narratives and find connections, giving us a sense of control and understanding in a world that often feels unpredictable. This psychological quirk can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it helps us navigate our complex environment by allowing us to quickly make sense of the world around us. On the other hand, it can lead us to see connections that aren't really there, potentially leading to misconceptions and faulty decisions. For instance, think about how superstitions develop. You might wear a lucky shirt because you believe it brings you good fortune, simply because you had a few good days while wearing it. This is the clustering illusion at work, tricking you into believing that there's a meaningful pattern where there is none. A modern story that captures this concept beautifully is the way people interpret stock market trends. Investors often look at short-term fluctuations and try to predict future movements based on perceived patterns. However, These fluctuations are often random, influenced by countless unpredictable factors. Yet investors might believe they've spotted a trend, leading to decisions based on illusion rather than reality. This is why even seasoned traders emphasize the importance of long-term strategies over trying to time the market based on short-term patterns. As you reflect on this, consider how often you fall prey to the clustering illusion in your own life. Do you see patterns in your daily routine that might not actually exist? How might recognizing this tendency help you make more rational decisions? The lesson here is to be aware of our natural inclination to find order in randomness and to question whether the patterns we see are truly meaningful. By doing so, we can develop a more balanced and realistic perspective, allowing us to navigate life's uncertainties with greater wisdom and clarity. The clustering illusion is a fascinating aspect of human psychology that highlights our innate desire to find order and meaning in the world around us. While this tendency can help us make sense of our environment, it's important to remain mindful of its limitations. By understanding and acknowledging this cognitive bias, we can make more informed decisions and avoid being misled by illusory patterns. The key takeaway is to cultivate a mindset of curiosity and skepticism, always questioning the validity of the patterns we perceive, and striving to see the world as it truly is. 11. The cheerleader effect. Imagine yourself at a lively party, surrounded by a sea of smiling faces and vibrant conversations. Suddenly, you notice a group of people across the room, and they all appear particularly attractive. This intriguing phenomenon is known as the cheerleader effect, a fascinating quirk of human perception, where individuals seem more attractive when they are part of a group. This effect demonstrates how our brains process visual information in social settings. When we see people together, we perceive their collective attractiveness more positively than we might if we saw each person alone. This cognitive bias shows that context matters significantly in our perceptions. The cheerleader effect, also called the group attractiveness effect, reveals how we are influenced by our social environment. When individuals are seen in a group, our minds tend to enhance their attractiveness, possibly due to the positive social cues and the overall pleasant atmosphere created by the group. This can be linked to the idea that humans are inherently social creatures, and being part of a group can elevate our mood and perceptions. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that your friends seem more appealing when you're all out together, enjoying a good time? Expanding on this, the Stoics would remind us to be aware of such cognitive biases and not let them cloud our judgment. Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This quote invites us to question our perceptions and recognize that they can be influenced by external factors. In the case of the cheerleader effect, it's essential to remember that our brain's enhanced perception of attractiveness in groups doesn't necessarily reflect an objective reality but rather a subjective experience shaped by context. Delving deeper into this topic, we can explore how the cheerleader effect influences our social interactions and decisions. For instance, when choosing friends or potential partners, are we swayed by their group associations? Are we more likely to approach someone who is part of an attractive group than someone who stands alone? These questions can lead us to reflect on how much weight we give to first impressions and group dynamics in our social lives. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wisely advised, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This counsel encourages us to look beyond superficial attributes and seek deeper, more meaningful connections. Understanding the cheerleader effect also ties into our self-awareness and personal development. Recognizing that our perceptions can be skewed helps us cultivate a more balanced and objective view of others and ourselves. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic teacher, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Applying this wisdom, we can strive to respond to our perceptions with mindfulness, ensuring that we don't make hasty judgments based on superficial impressions. The cheerleader effect can also be seen in various aspects of our daily lives. from marketing and advertising to social media and entertainment. Companies often use this principle to their advantage by showcasing groups of happy, attractive people enjoying their products, thereby enhancing the perceived appeal of what they're selling. Similarly, social media platforms amplify this effect by presenting curated images of groups having fun, which can influence our perceptions and behaviors. Reflecting on this, we might ask ourselves, how much are we influenced by the images and groups we see online? Are we making choices based on genuine preferences or on the enhanced perceptions created by the cheerleader effect? Consider how you might apply this understanding in your life. Next time you're at a social gathering, take a moment to observe how your perceptions of individuals might be influenced by their group context. Are you more inclined to interact with those who seem attractive in a group? How might this awareness change your approach to social interactions and personal judgments? By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and questioning our immediate perceptions, we can cultivate a more mindful and discerning approach to our relationships and social experiences. In essence, the cheerleader effect is a testament to the complexity of human perception and the influence of social context on our judgments. It reminds us to look beyond appearances and consider the deeper aspects of people and situations. As you navigate your social world, let the teachings of Stoicism guide you towards greater clarity and understanding. After all, in the words of Epictetus, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Use this wisdom to observe, reflect, and make more thoughtful decisions in your interactions with others. How will you let this newfound awareness shape your perspective and actions in your social life? 12. Memory's paintbrush. Have you ever been certain about a past event only to find out later that your memory was distorted? This phenomenon is a fascinating aspect of human psychology, revealing how malleable and imperfect our memories can be. As we delve into this topic, let's remember the Stoic wisdom of Epictetus. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle can guide us in understanding and managing the quirks of our own minds. Memory's paintbrush, or how false memories and post-event information shape our recollection, demonstrates a captivating aspect of human behavior, where our memories morph over time, much like a story that evolves with each retelling. Picture this. On your walk home, you distinctly remember seeing a dog. However, after someone confidently mentions it was a cat, your memory begins to shift. Gradually, you might start to remember seeing a cat instead. This isn't just a trivial mix-up, but a testament to how our memories are not flawless recordings of events. They are vulnerable to new information, suggestions, and even our own biases. To put this in perspective, consider the research by Elizabeth Loftus, a renowned psychologist who has extensively studied false memories. Her experiments have shown that people can be led to remember entire events that never happened simply by being given suggestive information. This malleability of memory is a survival mechanism, allowing our brains to remain flexible and adaptable. However, it also means that our recollections can be surprisingly unreliable. Relating this to Stoicism, we find solace in the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By understanding that our memories can be shaped and reshaped, we learn to approach them with a critical mind, not letting distorted recollections dictate our emotional responses. This is especially relevant in our modern, fast-paced world, where information is constantly bombarding us from all directions. Imagine being in a heated argument with a friend about a past event, both of you adamant about your versions of the story. Recognizing the fallibility of memory can help diffuse the situation, allowing both parties to acknowledge that neither version might be entirely accurate. This awareness fosters better communication and understanding. In your daily life, apply this knowledge by questioning your initial reactions to past events. Are you sure that what you remember is exactly how it happened? Or could your memory be playing tricks on you? By doing so, you not only practice mindfulness, but also embrace a more balanced and rational approach to dealing with conflicts and misunderstandings. Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By acknowledging the fluid nature of our memories, we can reduce unnecessary suffering and focus on living in the present. Embrace the imperfections of your mind and use this understanding to cultivate a more serene and resilient spirit, staying true to the Stoic path. This practice not only enhances personal growth, but also enriches your interactions, making you a more empathetic and wise individual. Thank you for being part of today's video. Before we proceed, I want to thank you for your participation in our community. Feel free to share your thoughts or simply comment, "I am a newbie" if you're new, or "I am Stoic" if you've been around. Your interaction is a great source of motivation for us. Let's continue this journey together, shall we? 13. The framing effect. When you consider the framing effect, think of how a frame can alter the way you perceive a picture. This psychological phenomenon shows us that the way information is presented can significantly influence our decisions and opinions. Think about a simple glass of water. If someone describes it as half full, it evokes a sense of optimism. But if it's called half empty, it suddenly feels less positive, even though the amount of water hasn't changed. This effect demonstrates that our choices are influenced not just by the facts themselves, but by how these facts are framed for us. Consider a common scenario in modern life. You're at a grocery store trying to choose between two brands of yogurt. One is labeled 90% fat-free, while the other says, contains 10% fat. Despite both labels describing the same product, you're more likely to choose the 90% fat-free option because it sounds healthier. This framing can also be seen in how news is reported. A headline that says 10,000 people have died from a disease creates a more alarming picture than one stating, over 99% of people have survived the disease, even if the actual risk is the same. The framing effect highlights how our brains prefer certain presentations of information over others, often leading us to make decisions that might not align with the raw data. In the world of Stoicism, understanding the framing effect can be incredibly powerful. Stoic philosophy teaches us to perceive things as they are, without the influence of external framing. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means recognizing when the framing effect is at play and choosing to see the situation with clarity and reason. Imagine you're at work and receive feedback from your boss. If they say, "You need to improve your performance," you might feel disheartened. However, if they say, "You're doing well, but there's room for improvement," the same message feels more encouraging. By acknowledging the framing effect, you can train yourself to focus on the constructive aspects and remain resilient. Let's bring this into a more personal context. Think about the last time you faced a setback, like not getting a promotion. If you frame this event as a failure, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy. But if you see it as an opportunity to grow and learn, your perspective shifts. This reframing aligns with the Stoic practice of viewing obstacles as chances to develop inner strength. How can you apply this understanding in your daily life? Next time you're presented with information or feedback, pause and consider how it's framed. Are you seeing the glass as half empty or half full? Challenge yourself to reframe situations positively. By doing so, you not only align with Stoic principles, but also foster a more optimistic and proactive mindset. The framing effect teaches us that while we can't always control the events that happen to us, we can control how we interpret and react to them. This mental shift is a core lesson in Stoicism and a valuable tool for navigating life's challenges with grace and resilience. 14. Bystander apathy. Imagine this. You're walking through a crowded hallway, your arms laden with important papers. Suddenly, you stumble, and your papers scatter everywhere. You look around, expecting someone to stop and help you gather them. But to your dismay, everyone just walks by, indifferent to your plight. This scenario is a classic example of bystander apathy. It occurs because when many people are around, each person feels less responsible for taking action. Psychologically, everyone thinks someone else will help, which often results in no one helping at all. This phenomenon highlights a curious aspect of human behavior. In a group setting, individuals often wait for others to act first, leading to a surprising lack of action even in situations where help is obviously needed. The idea of bystander apathy can be perplexing, yet it's rooted deeply in our psychology. Understanding this concept requires delving into how we perceive responsibility in the presence of others. When you're alone and see someone in need, the decision to help is clear. It's up to you. However, in a group, this sense of personal responsibility diffuses. It's almost as if the collective presence of others dilutes our own sense of duty, creating a paradox where more witnesses lead to less intervention. This insight into human behavior aligns with the teachings of Stoicism, which emphasizes personal responsibility and virtuous action, regardless of external circumstances. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Stoicism teaches us that our actions should not depend on the behavior of others but rather on our own principles and sense of duty. Consider the story of the Good Samaritan from the Bible, where a man was beaten and left by the roadside. Many passed by without helping, but a Samaritan stopped to assist him. This parable is a powerful illustration of overcoming bystander apathy through compassionate action. It challenges us to reflect on our own behaviors. In moments where help is needed, do we step up, or do we blend into the background, assuming someone else will intervene? Let's explore why bystander apathy happens from a psychological standpoint. One theory is the diffusion of responsibility, where individuals in a group feel less compelled to take action because they believe others will. This concept was famously demonstrated in the case of Kitty Genovese, a woman who was tragically attacked while numerous witnesses failed to intervene, assuming someone else would call for help. This tragic event spurred research into the bystander effect and how group dynamics can inhibit personal action. Another factor at play is social influence. In unfamiliar situations, people look to others for cues on how to behave. If no one else seems concerned, individuals may interpret the situation as non-urgent. This is particularly evident in emergencies where immediate action is crucial, yet the inaction of others leads to a collective paralysis. Understanding these psychological mechanisms prompts us to ask ourselves, how can we overcome bystander apathy and ensure we act when needed? One way is to cultivate a strong sense of personal responsibility and moral courage. By internalizing values that prioritize helping others, we can counteract the inertia of group settings. Additionally, being aware of the bystander effect empowers us to consciously decide to intervene, breaking the cycle of inaction. Famous quotes can reinforce this idea. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The time is always right to do what is right." This powerful reminder urges us to act ethically, regardless of how others behave. It challenges us to rise above the tendency to wait for others and to take initiative ourselves. In everyday life, we can practice small acts of kindness to build our readiness to help in more critical situations. Holding the door open for someone, offering assistance to a lost stranger, or standing up for someone being mistreated are all ways we can exercise our moral muscles. These actions, though seemingly minor, prepare us to act decisively in more significant moments. Reflecting on bystander apathy also invites us to consider the broader implications for society. How can we foster a culture where helping others becomes a natural response? Education plays a key role. By teaching children about empathy and the importance of helping others, we can instill values that counteract the bystander effect from a young age. Communities can also create systems that encourage and reward altruistic behavior, making it easier for individuals to step up and help. Think about a time when you saw someone in need. Did you act immediately or did you hesitate, looking to see what others would do? What stopped you from helping, or what motivated you to step in? These reflections can help us understand our own tendencies and identify ways to improve. Bystander apathy serves as a reminder that each of us holds the power to make a difference. By embracing personal responsibility and practicing proactive kindness, we can ensure that in moments of need, We don't just walk by. Instead, we become the ones who step up, offering help and making the world a more compassionate place. As you go about your day, consider how you can be a beacon of action and empathy in your community. How will you respond the next time someone needs help? 15. Egocentric bias. When we explore the intricacies of human behavior, we often uncover profound truths that resonate deeply with our own experiences. One such truth is the concept of the egocentric bias. Picture yourself as the main character in a movie, navigating through life's various scenes. This metaphor aptly captures the essence of egocentric bias, where we perceive ourselves to be the central figure in most situations. For instance, if something goes awry at a gathering, we might anxiously assume that everyone is scrutinizing our actions even when they are not. This bias illustrates how our minds instinctively place us at the center of events, causing us to overestimate our influence and role. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." This wisdom is particularly relevant when considering egocentric bias. Our perception of being the focal point often blinds us to the broader picture and the perspectives of others. In modern life, this can manifest in various ways, from professional settings where we might believe our contributions are more significant than they appear, to personal relationships where we assume our actions are more closely observed and judged. To navigate this bias, it is essential to cultivate self-awareness and empathy. By consciously shifting our focus from ourselves to others, we can gain a more balanced view of our place in the world. This shift not only helps in reducing unnecessary stress and anxiety, but also fosters stronger, more empathetic connections with those around us. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic sage, advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Applying this principle, we can learn to manage our thoughts and reactions, understanding that our perceived centrality is often a distortion of reality. In practical terms, combating egocentric bias involves regularly questioning our assumptions and considering alternative viewpoints. When faced with a situation where we feel overly self-conscious, we can remind ourselves that others are likely preoccupied with their own concerns. This practice not only alleviates the pressure we place on ourselves, but also encourages a more inclusive and compassionate outlook. Recognizing and addressing egocentric bias can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life. By embracing the teachings of Stoic philosophers and integrating their wisdom into our daily practices, we can transcend the limitations of our self-centered perspectives. This journey towards greater self-awareness and empathy not only enhances our personal well-being, but also enriches our interactions with others, creating a more harmonious and understanding world. In this video, we've explored 15 intriguing psychological facts about human behavior through the lens of Stoicism. Understanding these facts helps us gain deeper insights into why we act the way we do and how we can navigate our daily lives with greater wisdom and clarity. By applying Stoic principles, we can manage our reactions, build stronger relationships, and foster personal growth. If you found this content enlightening and valuable, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel Stoic in Your Life. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos, where we continue to explore the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and its relevance to our modern lives. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.